We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Vav Amud Aleph Meseches Eruvin. This is Eruvin Daf 46a. The Gemara had just said that water in the clouds is mivla bli, and therefore it's not kona shvisa. It has no substance in the clouds. Gemara says if that's the case, kol shekain dehavaluhu nolad vasiri. If that's the case, it should be considered nolad as if it was created on yontiv, and it should be also basically as muksa. Rashi here says kol shekain dehavaluhu nolad vasiri afilu letaltalon b'mekomon. It should be also even to move it wherever it is. So that can't be what's going on over here. So rather, the Gemara says, Elamaya ba'avim meinad naidi. Rather, water when it's in the clouds is moving around, and that's why it's not kona shvisa. And again, that's why when it rains on yontiv, it's not going to have any tchum of its own. Gemara now says, Hashta da'as is lahachi. Once we say this, ukainos nami lo likshulach. Your original question, which was assuming that the water comes from the ukainos, it comes from the ocean, that's not a kasha either. Maya b'ukainos nami meinad naidi. The water in the Atlantic Ocean, in the ocean, it moves around, and it's not kona any shvisa, so therefore there's no issue. Vitanya, we learned in a brayso, neharos hamoshchin umayonos hanovin. If you have rivers that flow, or you have fountains which flow, harehen karagle koladam, they get whatever tchum, whoever picks it up, that's where they can go. Rashi over here says, harehen karagle koladam, kevon denaidi, since they move around, lo kanu shvisa, they have no shvisa, ve'afilo shal yachid, even if they're privately owned, einon karaglav, they do not follow this individual's own tchum. They have no tchum of their own. The Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Yaakov Baridi, Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yaakov Baridi says in the name of Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, Halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. The halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, that an individual who's sleeping is going to be kona shvisa, and the same thing with an item which is hefker, it is also going to be kona shvisa. Amar le Rabbi Zera le Rabbi Yaakov Baridi. So Rabbi Zera said to Rabbi Yaakov Baridi, Beferish shmialach, or michlolo shmialach. Did you hear that the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri beferish, or you just implied this from somewhere? Amar Lei said to him, Beferish Mieli, I heard it Beferish. Now, my klola, where would be the implication? Where would be the general rule where we would paskin like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri? Rashi over here says, Beferish Mialach me Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Did you hear this from Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi Beferish? O Michlala, meaning the Shmialach mine Milsa Achrisi. You heard something else from him, but they act me not to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Srilan. You just understood from there, you inferred from there that he holds like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Gemara says, "Umay klala me'eza klal havasaka daitach meikar the shamatli Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi." The name of Milsa, the name of Glamina. What would have the original statement of Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi been that would have implied this? So that's what the Gemara asks. My klala, what was the klal? The Yamar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, because Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi said, "Halacha kedivrei hamekel be'erev." The halacha is like the person who's lenient when it comes to Eruvin. So, since Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is lenient, now as we're going to point out in a moment, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri's shita is only a leniency by a person who's sleeping. A person who's sleeping gets a tchum, so he gets to walk 2,000 amos. He's not limited to 4 amos. The truth of the matter is it's a stringency when it comes to chefze hefker. Because if chefze hefker are kon and shvisa, they now have a tchum of 2,000 amos, as opposed to having no tchum, and they can go anywhere, wherever the person picks them up. So the Gemara says, V'tarti lamali, why do we need both statements? Why do you need to say that halach is like the lenient opinion by Eruv? And you also need to say that halach is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Rabbi Zera, and that's what Rabbi Zera answers. Strichi, we need it. Because if we said the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, hava amina bein lakulo vein lachumra. Maybe we would apply Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri's halacha even as a stringency, as we said by kalim, that's a stringency. Kamash malan halacha kedivrei hamekel be'erev. That's why we're saying it's only in the situations where it's lenient. In the case that Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri was actually talking about in the Mishnah, in an individual who's sleeping, that's where we say that the person is kona shvisa because it's a leniency. Okay, fine. So just say the halacha is like the lenient opinion by Eruv. Halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri lamali. What do you need to say the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri for? Gemara says no. Itzrich, that we need also. Maybe we're only lenient when an individual is arguing with an individual, or a rabbim, a majority opinion, is arguing with another majority opinion. Meaning you have many sages arguing with many sages. But if you have an individual against the majority, so in that situation, maybe I would say that you're not lenient in such a situation. Gemara says, Amar le Rava la Abaya. So Rava says to Abaya, Mechti, let us see. Eruvin derabanan. Eruv is only derabanan. Mali yachid b'makom yachid, mali yachid b'makom rabbim. What difference is there between an individual against an individual and an individual against a rabbin? We'll continue with the response to Rava in a moment. We'll take a look at Rashi over here. Rashi over here says, Bein lekula kagon adam yashin. A guy is sleeping, that's a leniency. As we said, if there's no shvisa for this guy, then he can't move more than 4 amos. L'chumra, or it could be a stringency, could go on kli hefker. When it comes to kalim which are not owned by anyone, I amrit konen shvisa, if you say they have shvisa, asr laholichon lamakom she'irev zehamotzan. In that situation, you're not going to be able to carry them anywhere you want. They have their own El Alpayim, who de Islu L'chol. All they get is their own tchum of 2,000 amos in every direction. So that's why it says, we only pass like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri by the person who's sleeping. Since when he was awake, he had a tchum, he also has a tchum when he's sleeping. We do not pass like Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri when it comes to Kalim. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, the pligi Rabbanallah, again, you would say that if it's Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri against the Rabbanan, maybe the halacha is not like him. So now Rav Papa responds to Rava as follows. Amar le Rav Papa le Rava. Rav Papa says to Rava, Uvid Rabbanon, lo shani lon ben yachid b'makom yachid liyachid b'makom rab. Do you really think we don't make a distinction by the Rabbanans between when an individual argues with a majority or when an individual argues with another individual? Of course we make a distinction. We're only going to be lenient when the individual is against an individual. But I'm going to show you a case right now where when the individual is arguing against the Rabbim, we don't necessarily paskin like the Yachid, even though it's the Rabbanon. But it's not, because we learned in a Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer says, Kol isha she'avru aleh shalosh onas. Any woman who 3 time periods pass, this is in reference to Hilchas Nida, we're going to see in Rashi in a moment, daya shaita. So in such a situation, we're lenient, and we say that if she suddenly starts to see blood, that we say only tameh from then on. We don't go retroactively and make things tameh. That's Rabbi Eliezer's lenient opinion. Betanya, we learned in a brayso, Ma'asav also Rebbe ki Rebbe Elazar. There was a story where Rebbe did like Rebbe Elazar. Le'achar shenizkar, and then after he remembered, Amar Kedayu Rebbe Elazar lismochol b'shas hadchak. He said after the fact, okay, we can rely on Rebbe Elazar b'shas hadchak. So what was that statement that after he remembered, he said we can rely on Rebbe Elazar? Ma'ila achar shenizkar. What did he suddenly remember? If he remembered the halacha does not follow Rebbe Elazar ela k'Rabbanan, but rather it follows the strict opinion of the Rabbanan. How do you say, okay, the halacha follows the Rabbanan, but we can follow the person that we don't paskin like b'shas hadchak? That doesn't make sense. Obviously, what actually happened is the halacha was not stated like Rebbe Elazar or the Rabbanan. What he remembered was he thought that it was Rebbe Elazar against another individual, and then he remembered, no, it's really Rebbe Elazar against a majority. It's Rebbe Elazar against a rabbin. And Amar, he said, Kedai, Rebbe Elazar lismochala b'shas hadchak. We can rely on this minority opinion b'shas hadchak. The halacha wasn't stated one way or the other, and he said it's a minority opinion, we can rely b'shas hadchak. And you see from that even though this is a situation which is a derabbanan, apparently if it wasn't a shas hadchak, you couldn't necessarily be lenient. So you see by derabbanans, you could actually be strict in such a situation. Rashi here explains, first of all, Rabbi Eliezer Garcin, and Rashi says it shouldn't be Rabbi Elazar, it should be Rabbi Eliezer. Kol isha she'avru aleh shalosh onos dahainu tzadi yom. 3 time periods is a reference to 90 days. A time period when it comes to Hilchas Nida is 30 days. The onas tam leprisas nida mishloshim yom l'shloshim yom. A woman becomes a nida about every 30 days. V'chol isha she'avru aleh tishim yom. And any woman where 90 days goes by, v'lo rasa, she doesn't see any blood, nistalku dameh, we assume there's no more blood, she's not going to see any more. V'im rasa achrechein, and if she then sees blood after this time period elapses, amrinan hashtahu derasa dam, v'lo mitaminon taros shenisaska behen lemafreya. And we say it just happened right now, and we don't assume that anything that she was dealing with previously that was tahar suddenly became tameh. We do not make that assumption. Now, we do make that assumption by other women. By other women who are regularly seeing blood, there we say we do a 24-hour period. When the woman sees blood, we say anything from 24 hours before that she was dealing with, any taros that she was dealing with, are going to be tameh. We assume maybe some of the blood came out, just it didn't come out outside of her body, but it's in the kosle beis harechem, it's in the walls of the womb. It says that women are tameh when the blood enters the outer area. The Rabbanan argue, the Rabbanan say, if it's 90 days, that doesn't mean anything. We can't be lenient. Unless the woman is elderly and it's been 3 months, then in such a situation we can be lenient. But the Rabbanan say we're not lenient when it's a young girl. So Rabbi Eliezer is the lenient opinion here, and this is all the Rabbanan of making everything tameh. Rabbi Eliezer v'tir af biyalda she'avru ala gimel onos. Again, Rebbe was lenient like Rabbi Eliezer in this case, and he said that we can be metaher the various items which he touched. Achar shenizkar mashma the nizkar de lav shaper of it. He seemed to remember something he didn't do correctly. Shas hadachak. What was the shas hadachak? Shnei batzores have it. It was a year of famine, so they didn't want to be matame all these foods. V'ika hefset taros. That would be a loss of taros. If what he remembered was the halacha is actually like the rabbanon, he didn't remember that was the halacha. Now he remembers. Certainly he should go back on what he originally paskined. The reason why he didn't go back on his original psak, there was no statement who the halacha follows. What he remembered was he remembered that the majority are arguing against the minority. The Havalei Lemavad Karabim, he should have passed like the majority. But Amar, he said, Kedayu Rabbi Eliezer Lismochol V'Shas Adchak. We can rely on Rabbi Eliezer since it's a Shas Adchak. V'lo Ahadir Uvda, we don't have to go back on the psak. Halav V'Shas Adchak Lo. The point of this whole thing is that if it wouldn't have been a year of famine, if it wouldn't have been a Shas Adchak, we would actually go like the majority. Alma, you see, even though this din of making things tameh 24 hours back, is only a gzer derabanan, still, you should have done like the majority, so that's why we say that there is a distinction between a yachid against a yachid and a yachid against a rabbin. Now the Gemara continues with a similar question against Rava. Amar of Mesharshia l'Rava. Rav Mesharshia says to Rava, V'yamri lo Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak l'Rava. Some people say it's Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says to Rava, Uvidirabanan lo shani ben yachid b'makom rabim. When it comes to a derabanan, we don't make a distinction between when a yachid argues with another yachid or when a yachid argues with a majority. Vatanya, we learned in a brisa, Shmua krova noheges shivu shloshim. Let's say a person hears news that a relative died. So if the news comes near the time when the relative died, the person has to conduct himself with the laws of Shiva and the laws of Shloshim, all the laws of mourning that apply to the 7 days after the person hears and to the 30 days after the person hears. Rechoka, but if it's been a while since the person dies and only later do you find out, you only have to practice the laws of mourning for 1 day. Ve'ezuhi krova ve'ezuhi rechoka. The brisa says, the brisa asks, what's considered hearing the news close to the time of death and what's considered hearing the news distant from the time of death? So besoch shloshim, if you hear the news within 30 days, krova, that's considered you heard the news close to the time of death, and you have the laws of Shiva and Shloshim. La'achar shloshim, but if it's already been 30 days since the relative died, so then rechoka, that's considered hearing the news in a distant fashion. Divrei Rabbi Akiva, that's Rabbi Akiva's opinion. The Chachamim say, achas shmua krova v'achas shmua rechoka. Doesn't matter if you heard something that happened recently. Doesn't matter if you heard something that happened a long time ago. No heges shiva shloshim. You always have to be strict and conduct yourself with the laws of Shiva and the laws of Shloshim. So in this case, the Chachamim are a majority opinion and they're strict. And Rabbi Akiva, he's an individual, he's a yachid, and he's lenient. He says by a shmur rechoka, you only have to mourn for 1 day. V'yamar Rabba bar Barchana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabba bar Barchana says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Kol makom shatamotzi yachid mekel v'rabbim machmirin. In general, anytime you have a yachid arguing with a rabbim, and the rabbim are strict, halacha kedivrei hamachmirin hamerubin. The halacha is you follow the strict opinion because that's the majority. Chutz mizu, except this case, this is an exception. She'af al pisha Rabbi Akiva mekel v'chachamim machmirin. Even though Rabbi Akiva is lenient, the chachamim are machmir, the chachamim are strict. Halacha kedivrei Rabbi Akiva. The halacha is like Rabbi Akiva. V'savar la k'Shmuel, and this statement of Rabbi Yochanan agrees with Shmuel. The Amar Shmuel, because Shmuel says halacha kedivrei hamekel ba'avel. That when it comes to mourning, we're always lenient. So specifically by Avelus, we follow the lenient opinion. So the implication is by Avelus hu da'kilu barabanan. By Avelus, the Rabbanan were lenient, and they would rely on a yachid. Aval bi'alma, but in a normal case, afilu b'derabbanan, even if it was just an issue that was miderabbanan, shani ben yachid b'makom yachid ben yachid b'makom rabbim. You would make a distinction between an individual arguing with an individual and an individual arguing with a rabbim. And we'll continue this discussion in the next video on Daf Mem Vav Amud Beis.